Hello and welcome to the Growing Green podcast. Your host, Jeremiah Jennings, is the owner of Growing Green Landscapes in Birmingham, Alabama, and has a passion for growing the entrepreneurship community for those who are young in business. Being a business owner isn't easy, especially in the early years, and that's why in this show we dive into a wide range of topics covering all the challenges small business owners deal with. Even if your company is generating $1 million or more, the stories from our great guest and Jeremiah's own firsthand experiences will propel your business forward. And now, here's your host, Jeremiah Jennings.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode today here on the Growing Green podcast. This is your host, Jeremiah Jennings, and I am so excited to come to you today with another fresh new episode for you, and this is going to be a good one. This is going to be a really good one. I'm excited for this. I'm excited to have a guest interview on here today. Love guest interviews. I love getting around people that are trying to grow their business, that are like-minded, that are trying to be better, do better, and just grow. And I think that's what you're going to hear a lot of today. Familiar face, familiar voice, I guess you could say. We're not watching this, but you're listening to it. But if you listen to the industry, you're around the industry, you've probably heard this name before, and I'm excited to get him on the show today. Ricky Rodrigez, Ricky's Pro Lawn Service joins us today, and I'm very excited to hop into it with you, man. How you doing this evening?
I'm doing good, man. Just relaxing, getting ready for the next day, I guess you could say.
Yeah, man, I hear you. Well, it's late night for both of us, so I don't want to hold you too long. But season is kind of coming to a close for the rest of us around the country. I know you're down in Florida, so you might get a little longer season there. But just walk us through the typical, just kind of get us caught up to who you are, what you're doing in business, man, and then we'll just kind of dive into it. I want to talk some business growth, some personal growth, and so I'm ready to hear a lot from you, buddy.
Sounds good. Yeah, so I'm Ricky Rodriguez. I'm over here in Florida, and I'm 33 years old. I've been in business since 2012. We just hit 11 years back in August. I've been married going on 14 years this month, and I have 3 kids. I am a solo operator. I've had people come and go as far as employees go, but overall, I do everything on my own. I hire guys when I need them, and we knock out big projects that way. And yeah.
So let's dive into it. Then you say solo operator, doing it for that long. What's your passion for that? Do you have like a passion for doing it yourself? What is the passion, the purpose behind that? I think that's cool. I think that not everybody is meant to grow some huge $1 million company with a bunch of employees. So I like hearing different perspectives. What is your take on it, man? Yeah.
So, I guess selfishly, I've done it solo for the last 11 years because I just take an obnoxious amount of pride in my work. Mm-hmm. And I am getting to that place where I am realizing that obnoxious amount of pride that I have in my work needs to dial back if I want to be able to scale up a bit, right? Mm-hmm. And so now I don't really have this thought, this ambition, this idea to, probably be this massive $1 million lawn and landscape company. I do have some other ambitions and desires, but, right now I'm focused on this before I start to dabble into anything else. But because I take so much pride in my work, and it's a bad tendency, or I think that's the right word, but it's not good to think, because I'm going to do it because I know I'll do it right. Like I need to get out of that mindset. I know I won't grow past that. And so, that's something I've been learning in the last couple of years. And so, I've hired some guys and some guys have left, and I've had to fire some guys. And so, I also do solo because it's peaceful, man. I have my thoughts, for myself. I can't say it's for everybody, after hearing the Lawn Care Power Moves podcast one time, Cedric was talking about mental health and being alone, and why he thinks it's important for him to have that kind of help. And it's funny, right? I never really thought of it that way. And then, when I look back out of all the time that I've been in the truck alone and that kind of thing, and then actually having people in the truck, I can see where he was coming from in that. And so it's actually pushed me even more to try to get more people in the truck with me, whether it be one person, two or three people. I'm trying to move on from being solo. But one could say it's a little easier being solo, right? Because you don't have to deal with people complaining that it's too hot or it's too difficult, right? As a business owner, we don't have time to do that whining and complaining of, oh man, it's too hot out here and it's too difficult. Yeah, we have our moments, but we see beyond that, right? We see our families and we see the goals that we're trying to attain in life, and so we suck it up and we keep on going.
Yeah, no, that's good, man. That's really good stuff. And I think that you're right. I think it's cool that you're realizing if you want to scale a little more, you have to get out of that mindset. That's something that I've kind of been talking about a lot here this year has been you have to get over trying to be really good at cutting grass, and you have to figure out how to be really good at owning a business. But again, I think you can have that mindset. You should be learning how to run a business whether you stay solo or not. That's not me telling you you have to run a business with employees and you can't be solo. Like, that's not what I'm saying at all. It's just the fact of, like, even when you are cutting the grass yourself, you still have to make sure and make time prioritize time towards being more efficient in business, growing the business as far as systems, processes, procedures, bank accounts, all the stuff that goes along with it, knowing your numbers. And it's like, the thing that's so easy to do is get caught up in the day-to-day. When you're running a solo, it's easy to not realize that you're missing out on those things, and you're letting those things, you're neglecting them. And so it's cool to hear that you've grown over that over this time. I mean, 11 years, man, you've done it for quite a while. You've seen a lot. You've cut a lot of grass over that time. What are some things you've learned over the years doing it solo? I mean, what are some key principles, traits that you say, hey man, this is something that got me here. It's kept me in business for this long. And then at the same time, like, hey, I wish I would have done this differently, because I think there's, like you said, I think there's a lot to learn over 11 years of business, probably a lot of good and a lot of bad. What are some of those, man? What are some of those things that you've just learned along the way?
Yeah, I think what I've learned along the way is that you're not going to make all your money cutting grass, and I'm a big proponent for it, and I believe you can make money making grass. And I say that to say this. I've gotten into a lot of networking the last couple of years.
That's good for you, man. That's good for you.
Yeah. And so once I noticed that, subcontracting is a huge way to make money, I've been able to make more money. Right. And so, the last couple of years, well, not the last couple of years, but maybe the last 4 to 6 years or so, I've been able to run at 50% profit margins. And so, and that's because I'm running solo, right? And I think everybody knows with this industry, and one of those things that I've learned, as you ask, what I've learned is that in this industry, and I don't know if it's different state to state, but I've noticed here, especially in my company, is that, and you mentioned knowing your numbers, is that, in the green industry, 50% automatically goes straight to the company. That's just the overhead in this industry. So if you make 100,000, you really only made 50, and that's what I've come to notice, and I come to learn really, really quick. Yeah, I can't live off of that. And so I just got big into subcontracting to the bigger landscape companies around me that have, the skid steers, the dump trucks and all that kind of stuff. And so, they're doing paver, installs for me, and they're doing these concrete border installs for me. And then doing network and doing some networking and subcontracting with tree companies. And, they just come and they'll clear an entire backyard, and people can see that on my Instagram. There was an entire backyard that we cleared, and that was a tree company there. And so, when you're able to make those connections and you're able to talk, percentages, and this is just something I learned over time. And so, I don't know if I ever want to get big in that, in my company in that way, to get all this big heavy machinery and provide all those services. But I am enjoying the networking aspect and subcontracting aspect of this whole thing. And I really enjoy mowing lawns. I can't say I'm tired of it after 11 years. I still love what I do. And who knows, I'll probably be Johnny Crooks over here, however old he is. I'm going to say he's 21, but he got a little bit more grace than me.
No, man, I love it. I think that's a good perspective. I mean, what have the 11 years looked like for you, if you don't mind me asking? I mean, can we take a deep dive into that of what the journey looked like? What did it start? How did you start out? I mean, yeah. So if you haven't heard Ricky's story, you shared your full story over on the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast not too long ago. And so I did get to hear that episode, which was really good. And so you don't have to go all the way in depth. I mean, if you want to, I think that was a really good episode sharing your full story. But take it as far as you want to, man. I mean, what is personal life, business life looked for you? It hasn't been easy. I heard in that show, it sounds like you had a lot of times of kind of resetting, going back to ground zero and restarting. I mean, share about that, man, and share the growth along the way and the things you've learned. Yeah,
man. And so I guess to sort of pick up where I left off there, I was too busy fangirling when I saw Brian Fullerton on my phone when he called, and so I was a little starstruck, right? And so because he helped me a long way, man. Yeah. And then obviously listening to your stuff too, man, you're just filled with wisdom for your age, man. And so I don't see you as one of them guys where because you're a little bit younger than me, that's how I look at you now, man. I see you level. I see you level with me, man. And so, kudos to you and the amount of wisdom that you have, and kudos to your parents, right? Because they raised you.
Exactly. Yeah.
But to stick to the question, yeah, man. I was broke. I was a bum playing video games. And I wasn't doing anything with myself. I had got laid off from my job, and my wife was going to school, and she was pregnant with our second child. And so we were living with her parents. And, this was when Call of Duty came out, right? And so that's what I was doing. I was just playing video games. I wasn't doing anything with myself. And I just got tired of being lazy. I just got sick and tired of being sick and tired, right, as they say. And so I just hopped on a bike that was sitting in the garage and grabbed the lawnmower there, and I just went riding around the neighborhood knocking on doors. And I said, hey, I'll cut your grass for $10. I'll cut your grass for $10. And then 2 weeks later, 11 people called me back. I don't know why I can remember that number, but that's what the number was. 11 people called me back 2 weeks later. And I knew I had something, and I probably called it a business then, but I think in the last couple of years, I've come to really realize what running a business really is. And so I really feel like I've only gotten myself going in the last year or so, to be honest with you, because I've come to learn my numbers, right? And I've come to learn on what it is to put systems in place, still figuring that out. But I've come to learn that that's needed, right? And all those other things. And so, yeah, man, so after doing the whole bike thing, I realized I wasn't going to get around enough. And so I was driving a 92 Mercury Cougar at the time. So I just went on ahead and just put everything in the trunk of that, right? I had my little 2.5, no spill cans in there. And then, a little, what do you call it? The Toro recycler, right? With the self-propelled. And I thought I was the man when I got a hold of that one after the Murray took a dump on me, right? And so, yeah. And so I was just driving around, just doing that. And like everybody, every time those taxes hit, right, that was the moment when you're broke, right? That's the moment where you're like, thank God I have kids, because every time tax season came in, you knew you were going to get a good refund.
Oh, yeah.
And so, now that I run my business, right, I don't even look forward to it anymore. I got too many taxes to pay now. But anyways, man, and so every year I got my taxes, I just went on ahead and reinvested in the company, man. And it's sad, right, that like the first 6 months of me running my business, I only made $11,000, and $9,000 of it went right back into the company. And so there was no profit to show there. I'm grateful to my in-laws. My father-in-law, he's a great man of God, and I was always able to go to him and speak to him, late nights, just trying to scheme, trying to figure out this whole business thing and what I'm going to do. Right. Just vision planning here. And so, again, just reinvesting. And then when I had got my taxes, I guess you could say in 2013, I had waltzed into this house that was being renovated across the street. I saw this guy. He had a 93 Toyota pickup. And it was just a little 2-door, a little rinky-dink, just scratches and dents all over the place. And I walked in and I said, $1,500 to whoever truck that is outside. And where he had lived was about an hour away. And so he said, I'll take it. And so he called his wife over. Not everybody in this podcast will know where it is, but Kissimmee, right? And so it's about an hour. It's almost an hour away.
Yeah, that's where Disney World is.
Yes, it's very close to Disney. There you go. And so his wife shot over with the title, and he wrote it off to me. And so that's when I got my first little pickup. I had these little ramps that I got off of Craigslist when Craigslist was still a big thing. And I was just ramping this walk behind mower that I ended up getting. I skipped a little bit on the story. I got the walk behind later. I'm sorry. Yeah. And so I ended up ramping this little walk behind mower into the back of the pickup. And that's when I guess you could say it started. And when one of my neighbors realized the way I was doing things for so long, he noticed I was working hard. He was like, "Hey, look, I'm not doing anything with this trailer. Go on ahead and take it. Register it under your name. Here's the title. And whenever you have the money, come bring it my way." And so he sold me. It was like a little 5x9, rinky-dink trailer for $450. And that's when things just really started taking off. After that truck, I ended up with a 92 Ford F-150. I needed something a little bit bigger and stronger. I had a trailer now. And so, I was able to, haul with that. And, at some point we obviously moved out of my in-laws and, we ended up in our own little place. But man, I tell you what, it was a struggle, to see your numbers and you're only making $1,100 a month. And, and that was just in the off season, right? And we're over here trying to pay our rent. So it was really tough. And I wasn't knowing my numbers, I was just a young guy, right? Like I knew nothing about business and it's stuff like that, right? When I look back at my story and then I see people like you with the amount of wisdom that you have, it's like, it's more than just, potential, right? I always had people, tell me that I have potential and it's like, it was cool to hear, but it's like, man, I want to be as smart as a Jeremiah Jennings, right? Obviously, you were a little kid at that time, but I knew other people your age that were way wiser than me. All I had was my, how old was I? My 23, 24-year-old energy. That's all I had. I didn't know what it was, to run a business. I was a high school dropout. I did not have a good education. My parents never instilled, any type of business mentality into me. And so, it was really tough trying to figure things out. And, I really began to figure things out when I got on YouTube, I guess you can say. And I listened to other people as I went, right? And so, but once I got onto YouTube, I found out about Johnny. I just went crazy consuming his content, and then obviously, how can you miss his face? I ended up finding out about Brian, and so I just started consuming all of his content too, and that's when things really started taking off. But sadly, again, I felt like I had to grow that entrepreneurial thing in me, right? To really apply business practices and principles. I was just still working hard trying to apply the how do you price for mulch? Like it's deeper than that, right? And so when I'm watching those videos, it's so much more than that, so much more than trying to edge a lawn. And while all that stuff worked and it helped me provide a better quality service, there was so much more to it, and I didn't even know. And so, here I am all that time later, finally starting to figure out, man, it's more than grass. And so, I aspire to have other businesses and to, have investments in different places and stuff like that. And so it's definitely more than grass, as you guys have been repeating this year.
That's fantastic, man. That's awesome. It's a cool thing to hear how long you've been in business, how long you've actually lasted. Not many people actually last that long in business, if we're being totally honest. So I love to hear that on your side and hear how you've just stood the test of time.
The Lawntrepreneur Academy is your online destination for learning how to grow a successful lawn and landscaping company.
Hi, this is Scott from New Jersey. I just wanted to say that Brian puts out some great content. Definitely has helped me grow my lawn and landscape business. Just finished my 4th or 5th coaching call with Brian, and every time I get off a call, I'm definitely ready to go out there and crush it. I also just recently purchased the whole ball of wax from Lawntrepreneur Academy. Loving all the content. Brian's definitely out there looking out for our best interest and trying to help us grow a bigger and better business.
The link is in the show description. Make your business as successful as possible with training and resources from the Lawntrepreneur Academy.
In my younger self, I've always I like your last podcast. It's awesome when I can hear people talk about their faith. I was 17 years old when I got saved, and that's when things began to turn around in my life. In the aspect of being saved, right? Mm-hmm. I won't delve too deep on that, but I got saved in that moment. But I wouldn't even know what to tell my younger self. To be honest with you, sorry, I don't have a better answer because it was just the environment that I was brought up around that I don't think that chance was there yet, and I think it had to happen when it happened in the life that I'm in now.
Yeah, no, man, I totally get that. I think getting around the right people early on in life is like so important, and I believe that. That's something that's one of the things that I've strived to do the most of, because I know I can look around and see people that have done that and how successful they can get to at a very, very quick rate when you surround yourself with people that are trying to be better. And then that's exactly what I said at the beginning of the show. Like, I can tell, like, sitting here talking to you on the phone, because like you're trying to better yourself now. You're trying to grow. You're trying to learn. And in all of that, you can sit back and say, this is an area that I lacked in, but now we get to make up for it moving forward, and we get to help other guys do the same thing. You can look at other guys and say, man, look at what you have and don't waste it, because none of this was a thing when none of this community was there 11 years ago when you started.
Yep.
And so I think that's huge. I mean, that's just awesome, man. Well, what else is there you want to get into, man? I mean, is there anything as far as like actually operating the business goes? What are you running? What are you trying to do to be better, more efficient in the business, like the day-to-day grind? And also, because season's kind of coming to an end here, what does y'all schedule look like down there? Do y'all stay busy all the way through?
Yeah, we definitely stay busy all year round, and so to dial a little bit back and to end up here to help answer what you started off with here was, so after that 92 F-150, I ended up getting a 2006 Ford F-150. That thing took a dump on me in at the start of summer. It was a complete nightmare. Ended up spending like $7,000 in a week trying to get the truck up and running. And so another unwise, business investment, right? And so the thing is, the truck had 174,000 miles. And so I thought maybe I can get a little bit more out of it. But then again, I mean, we're talking an 06, 174,000 miles, an FX2 Sport. That thing is not taking me very far, especially with the level of work I'm taking on now. And I beat the snot out of that thing, right? And so you mentioned what was it? Buying equipment that was going to help me be more efficient. And so prior to the truck breaking down, I ended up getting a new trailer. I got all new mowers. I've never had a new mower ever, right? So I just went on ahead and got the the 52-inch Exmark Staris and the 36-inch. Oh no, I'm sorry. The Exmark Vertex and then the Exmark Staris 36-inch. And so, when I got those two things, I thought, okay, this truck, I'm just going to run it into the ground and keep on going. Truck took a dump. And then I decided to go on ahead. I'm like, you know what, man, it's been a long time coming. I've never had new anything, right? Finally got some new mowers and a new trailer here. And so I ended up getting a 2020, and it's not as new as some people's things are, right? But I've never had anything with warranty on it. That's how broken poor I come from. And so I ended up getting a 2021 Ford F-250. And that thing, I don't even feel that trailer back there. I feel like I'm going to lose my lawn trailer one of these days. The only time I feel it back there is if I'm hauling a dump trailer, right?
Yeah.
And so I've been able to invest in some equipment that, yes, it's helped me get the job done. I don't have to worry about things breaking down anymore, right? And so that would always be my go-to with clients. Oh, yeah, we only mow Monday through Thursday because I got to leave Friday open in case of a rain delay, shrub trimming, and in case of a breakdown. I'm not concerned with a breakdown. I got a truck on warranty now and 2 brand new mowers and a new trailer. And all my stick equipment, I've always done pretty well on buying that stuff brand new. And so everything I have is new now, and it feels good to finally have something new. It's weird, to have something under warranty. So when something actually happens to the truck, I'm able to just take it to the nearby Ford dealership and they'll take care of it. And that's something that did happen recently, but it didn't set me back in work. I was able to, still go on ahead and do what I needed to do there. And so, but yeah, man, so things, it's year round over here in Florida. We probably get a week of cold weather, and that 1 week is scattered throughout 6 months.
Yeah.
It's not a whole lot of cold weather. I do my mowing 34 weeks out of the year. A lot of people do 52 around here. The reason why that I do 34, that's just so happens. How do I word it? That's just what's working for my business right now, is to do a 34-week service. So it's weekly in the summer and then bi-weekly in all of the off season. And so every other week I have available to go on ahead and do some cleanup, some landscape installs and all that kind of stuff. And so it was nice last week, and because I have everybody on flat rates, my monthly, lawn maintenance income doesn't change.
Yeah.
And so it's just constant. So here I am seeing everybody a lot less now, but I'm still making that same top dollar amount that I was making in the summer, and everybody's locked in for a year. And even though the season's ending, my phone is still ringing. Everybody's still calling to get locked in. They're not just looking for a one-off. I'm still getting a bunch of one-off, phone calls, but I send that, to the guys that I know that are up and coming and they need that kind of help. And so, but last week, every day we were doing a landscape install. We were able to make a couple $1,000s extra last week, because we didn't have to mow. And all week next week, like everybody else, right? Everybody, you hear the common theme. Everybody's complaining that they're going to lose out on their leaf cleanups, and it's like, man, I probably have $5,000 to $10,000 sitting on the table, worth of landscape work next week, but I'm choosing to go to Equip anyways. I have been listening to Brian, you, Paul, Naylor, John, Pajak. I mean, just Cornell and Cedric, just everybody constantly talking about Equip. From the time it was GIE, right? And so I just finally said, you know what, man, I'm gonna go on ahead and just go. And the work will be here when I get back. And ironically, all these phone calls that I'm getting, they don't even want to do it that week. They want it the last week of October anyways. And so, I could probably find something to do, but it's actually time. I didn't get to share this. My wife and I, a couple of months ago, we finally had a little sit down. She always had this conversation. This is why I was sort of hinting at Marriage Mondays with you and Savannah. Hopefully that'll happen one day. But it took a long time for me to understand what my wife was saying about slow down. And I'm like, girl, this train does not slow down. If we slow down, we do not get to live the life we want. And I misunderstood her. one could say she could have communicated a little bit differently to where I would have understood her, but it's like I just didn't understand, but I lacked communication also. And so she wasn't saying slow down as in I need to take more weeks off a year to go on ahead and spend time with the family and splurge and not work. She's like, is there ever going to be a moment where we could just, spend a day together as a family, right? Not that we work 7 days a week. The only time that really happens is when a hurricane hits, right? But we have this sit down that from now on, it's time to enjoy the fruits of my labor, man. I've been doing this for 11 years. I'm starting to figure things out. I got a lot of things going well for me, and so we'll be traveling more. We'll be taking more vacations. And so we'll be at Equip. We'll be at LAL. We'll be at this whole cruise thing for Together in the Trades. And so, we're just going to start enjoying the fruits of our labor and just start putting things in place. There's so much work out there and there's so much to do. It's not going to go anywhere. And if somebody decides to not go with me, that's fine. I had somebody cancel a $2,300 side job this morning, and I got a call for a $2,600 side job, and we're going to be doing it on Friday. So no better way, to go out to Equip next week. My money was already set up, but that's taken care of. You know what I mean? And so, I don't know how much I derailed from what you asked me, but I just wanted to make sure I provide value.
No, dude, that's awesome. Man, I love that. I love that so much. I love everything about it. I'm glad to hear that you're going to Equip for the first time. That's going to be awesome for you. I'm excited for you to get to experience that. It's something that really can't be explained until you just go and see it all for yourself. That's literally that's the only way I can say and explain it to people. But I tell you what, before we wrap up, so you say you have the flat rates monthly. I mean, that is an option that most people up north probably don't understand that because it's totally different because they just don't do that during the winter. They don't do any service in the winter. They switch to snow. What is that? How have you done that in your business always? Has it always worked for you? And then what do the customers think about that?
So it's a common theme over here in Florida. I've been doing it for probably half the time I've been in my company, I guess you can say. And so I guess the last 5.5 years, maybe, it could be more. I'm not sure. It took me a while to grasp a couple things. But it's a very common thing out here. And so, I'm sure everybody might get it, but I'll just do a quick little breakdown. But if you're charging, $55 a service, you go on ahead and times it by 34 weeks, divide it into 12, and that's your monthly flat rate there. And so, I want to say I've never had an issue, but the people that I have had an issue with are those problematic customers that you constantly hear about on a podcast, right? The ones that already don't pay on time, the ones that don't clean up after their pets in the backyard, the ones that don't want to clean up after their pets in the backyard. And so a lot of people actually prefer that, especially when we get to the place of starting to explain, hey, man, it's going to cost you, $220, $240 in the summertime. We could just go on ahead and flat rate this for the year, and it'll be the same price all year long. And so a lot of people love that. I mean, I enjoy it. I know it works for some people, and I know it doesn't work for some people. Like, for example, I don't know if you know Jonathan Christian with Florida Turf Pros. He prefers per service and biweekly services. But I hear he's closer to, what is it, Georgia? He's way upstate in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know how,
on the Panhandle.
Yeah, so I don't know how different the grass is over there, but I guess biweekly works for him. It's a jungle even after 1 week over here. So I don't see how that would work over here. So,
yeah, he's probably closer up to our climate. Our climate is a bunch of biweekly stuff. So
that's right. I think you spoke about that one time. Yeah.
Yeah. I could totally see that. Now, what do y'all usually have? Y'all usually have St. Augustine where you're at? Yes,
St. Augustine and Bahia. And so I have a small handful of St. Augustine properties. I have a lot more of Bahia. And so I don't know how to describe that for you guys. I've been trying to figure out what you guys call Bermuda and something else. because Johnny, whenever he mows the lawn, he'll say, yeah, this is Bermuda, and it looks like Bahia to me. And so, it's a thinner grass. Some of them has these little Y sprouts that shoot out and stuff like that. And so I want to travel the state to see what everybody's talking about.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, Bermuda is what we have the most of. It's not my favorite, but it's not as I feel sorry for you. You have a bunch of Bahia. That stuff's hard to cut when it gets thick and stuff. So,
you do know about it. You guys have a little bit over there? Or no?
I don't have any. I've just seen it. I know people that have it.
Okay. Yeah, it's super thick stuff and tough to cut when it's been too long.
Yeah, you can't let that go too long. If you got a lot of that, weekly service is definitely required. In the growing season. So, really quickly before we wrap up, two final things here. So, working solo and stuff, lead flow is big. You got to keep leads coming in. You got to keep yourself busy. How do you do that? How have you grown your company? Has it mainly been word of mouth? Have you done any marketing? What does that process look like for you?
That's a good question. I'm glad you brought it up. I wish, because this is something I've been wanting to talk about a lot more. I thought it was a little ironic when I started hearing a lot of content coming out. It was at the start of the year, but I was catching it too late trying to catch up with podcasts and stuff. But I built my website back in January. I always had one through Google, that little janky website that they offer for a couple of bucks just to have, I guess you could say, a landing page, right? And so, I'm on Google. You can find me there. And I have like 42 reviews. I'm 5 stars there. And so I built a website. I use Home Advisor and then a ton of word of mouth. And then I obviously have Facebook there too. And I run ads from time to time. I'm not consistent on that because I don't feel like I get enough business from there. But I know that there is also, an algorithm and there are touches, right? Those impressions. And maybe I do need to get back on there, but I probably get anywhere between 5 to 10 phone calls a day already just because of my website. And so I build my website myself through GoDaddy, after listening to so many different people, right, and just learning what SEO is and how to run a website and getting all those keywords up to date. I am number one in my city, in my area. I mean, I have people calling me actually from out of the area from time to time. It's pretty crazy. And so we're very active on our website, and that's how people find out about us. And then my truck is wrapped, and so that's like 30,000 impressions a day, I think is how that works, right, whenever you drive around. And so, between the truck being wrapped, having a website, and being on Google, my phone is just constantly ringing.
I love that, man. That's cool. That's a big question we get this time of year. We're actually going to do a whole podcast on lead flow and lead generation here coming up soon. So stay tuned for that one. That's going to be a good one with Ezra from Green Frog Web Design. I'm excited for that show coming up. But that's really cool, man. I tell you what, we're already sitting here at 40 minutes, and it's late night. Like I said, I don't want to hold you. I want to be respectful of your time. One final question that we try to ask all of our guests here. It's pretty simple, but it can be complex. But it's just, what is your why?
My why, man?
Yeah, man. Just what's your why?
My family. I do it for my family. And sometimes I wonder if that's what I'm really doing it for, because I don't get to spend a lot of time with them. And it's not that I'm neglecting them. When I'm home, I'm intentional, right? And like I said, we'll be having more vacations and stuff like that together. But my why is my family, and I just want to do better than everybody in my family before me, and that goes as far as actually being married and staying married, and my faith walk with Christ. That's one of that right there is the main thing of it all. When you look back at a lot of people in my family, and I'm not saying too far, I'm talking about family members still alive. I can't think of anybody that consistently, follows the Lord. And so, my why is the Lord. My why is my family. And so that's the best way I can answer that.
Man, it doesn't get any much better than that. It really, there's not much better than it can get. So, I'll tell you what, Betty, I really, really appreciate you coming on and spending some time with us this evening. How can everybody get in touch with you if they want to follow along with you on the socials? Yeah,
you guys can find me on Instagram at Ricky's Pro Lawn Service. I'm also on TikTok, not as active as I should be, but RPLSFL there. You give it a little follow and I guess help the algorithm that I'm not consistent on there. If you want to chat with me and keep up with my personal life, there's Facebook, Ricky J. Rodriguez. And then if you want to help the algorithm a little bit more on my business page, you give me a little follow there at Ricky's Pro Lawn Service on Facebook.
I love it. That's a really, really good branding, simple, easy to find. I love it, dude. I tell you what, I do want to get you back on for Marriage Monday. Hopefully you and your wife one day here in the future. I'm excited to dive into that some more because 11 years of owning a business, you've definitely had some struggles and trials along the way. Would love to hear y'all's story about staying together and pushing through that and persevering. Man, that's really good stuff. So looking forward to seeing you at a Quit, buddy. It's going to be a good time. When you coming into town?
I'll be there Tuesday morning. So if anybody's listening to the podcast and they'll be there in the morning, let's go get some breakfast.
I hear you, man. I hear you. Well, there you go. There's Ricky's open invite. So reach out to him on Instagram and hook up, go get some breakfast, and we look forward to seeing everybody at the show. So I think you can still get tickets until October the 15th for 50% off with code GG50 if you decide to do that. That would mean the world to us there. Also, leave us a big 5-star rating review if you enjoyed the show because it means a lot to us. It means a lot that you take the time out to press the button, leave the well-rated review. It helps the algorithm. Like Ricky was saying, you go give a follow there, press follow on the podcast app, and it helps us out there so we can continue to go through the community one relationship at a time. But I tell you what, Ricky, thank you so much for your time tonight, man.
Of course, man. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Well, guys, thank you for tuning in and spending some time with us today. If you enjoyed it, leave us a big 5-star rating review. But without any further ado, that's going to wrap this one up, and we look forward to catching up with everybody here on the next episode.
Thanks for tuning in to the Growing Green podcast. It is an honor to have you listening, and we hope you receive valuable advice to help take your business to the next level. Don't forget to follow the podcast so you'll be notified when our next episode drops.